SCENAR practitioner for about 4 years only. So I have a very short experience, but I would say very quantitative experience, because we have been working in this field very intensively since we started that. And my background actually is philosophy. After that, it was because of my mother, who was injured, we discovered SCENAR therapy, and immediately I also started to study medical science as well. So I'm very soon to be occupational therapist as well. Today I'm going to show you my experience, my knowledge, my understanding about what is the way how you can work with SCENAR therapy. Not maybe this is not exactly basic school at all. This is very simple techniques which you can use maybe for home users, maybe for your clinical practices, or whenever you need, whenever you think you need these treatments for lymphatic or energy cleansing. And my basic knowledge about SCENAR therapy comes from Alexander Rabenko. I was his student, and most of these protocols comes from his knowledge. Some of them I have adapted, and then I will tell you that I have adapted them. And I will try to explain both of the interpretations, his and mine, and why I prefer maybe something different. And in my experience, the best way how to study, how to learn something is by doing. Because SCENAR therapy is not philosophy. It's not that you just sit and think and or you just write something down. It's done by doing. So you need to actually treat people to learn something. So this workshop is a very practical workshop. I hope you will be willing to participate. And I hope you will also be sharing your thoughts about it, your experience. Does it work, or maybe it doesn't? How do you feel about what we are doing? And we will try to practice everything what I will show you. If you will say that, no, we're not interested in this technique, then we will skip it, okay? So let's do it like that. If you don't feel comfortable about what I am presenting to you this day, you can say, yeah, I don't like this, then just don't use it. Just don't use it, okay? If you feel comfortable and you trust my experience, then I will be very glad to see that you have good results after using these techniques. So, lymphatic and energy cleansing. So, what Alexander Rabenko told when we started studying with him, he said that for chronic diseases, for chronic processes, you need more steps to get to that chronic process, because there are some kind of layers which are also disturbed in the body if you have chronic process in your body. And to get to that real treatment, for example, the person has pain in the back and it's chronic for, I don't know, 10 years, then there's also emotional problems probably, there are energetic problems, there are lymphatic problems, and there is informative problems in body. So we need to step by step work with them to get to that level when body is actually ready to work with this chronic problem. And the steps he provided was, first you start with informative cleansing. When you do that, then you go to the lymphatic cleansing, then you go to energetic balancing, then emotional balancing, and only then to the local zones or adaptive zones. Sometimes, if the problem is with lymphatic system, or that is the main problem why you have this climb, then you can stop there. You can maybe just do informative cleansing and then just do all the lymphatic cleansings you can name off. Today we will going to talk about informative cleansing and lymphatic cleansing. First two steps. Sometimes I have seen that energetic balancing and emotional balancing is mixed together, like it's emotional balancing is third and energetic is fourth, but I would say it doesn't matter so strictly. So you can choose the steps how you think is the best for the client to get the real result. So if you think that the problem is more in which step there is the biggest problem, then you can work on it more. So informative and lymphatic cleansing. Body cleansing itself. So the first one is this informative cleansing, and this is the first step in scanner treatment. And when we do different kind of informative cleansings, it helps to remove blockages from the body, from the energy flow in the body. So the movement actually also gets better, the blood flow gets better. And it also is kind of something like a small diagnostic or screening, that's a better way to name it. Because informative cleansing shows asymmetries and disbalances in the body. So they can appear like rednesses on the skin, they can appear like muscle contractions or pain or different things. And informative cleansing is showing us where are these asymmetries. That's why it's very good for the first step. You kind of vibrate the body, you give the first influence to it, and you prepare it for the next steps. And in the same time, you get out the information of the body. So to understand what to do next more. Then there is this lymphatic cleansing, which is the second step in scanner treatment. And with lymphatic treatment, we are balancing lymph node activity. So sometimes maybe the lymph is stuck in the vessels or in these lymph nodes, and we help to normalize the lymph flow in the body. It also helps to restore and clean the body, and it boosts immune system. So lymphatic cleansing is very important where there are some kind of inflammations, swelling, or edema as well. So there are also, this is additional, there are also other cleansing techniques with scanner. For example, the skin detox, where you need a special electrode for that, the slider, these toxins come out from, especially from this face, but also from other body parts. There is lung system cleansing, for example, with RAM technique or Christmas tree technique. These are just examples. Then there is urinary tract drainage, or where you can use kidney technique for that, or for digestive system cleansing. There are several abdominal spirals you can use. So there are different techniques you can use for each organ or each system to clean it. And I will show you the few I'm aware of and I like, which I like. So today we will see the 8 techniques. For informative cleansing, there will be washout technique, there will be wipers, meridian cleansing, and pressure technique. And there, for the lymphatic cleansing, we will see abdominal drainage, spleen and liver drainage, lymphatic flowers or blooms, or I don't know which would be the best word for that, and lymphatic waves, a little bit adapted version for that. So let's start with washout. Originally, this technique is derived from traditional Chinese medicine treatment. There is the treatment which is called washout massage, which actually means scraping. The idea is that you take a little bit sharp object, instrument, something like that, and you scrape the body. And afterwards, you can see there are a lot of rednesses and these bruises as well. Why should anyone do something like that? The idea is that in the capillaries, there are small parts of our capillaries that we don't use all the time. So there are some capillaries we are just which are stagnating at some kind of small time for time. And in these capillaries, there are inactive or dead erythrocytes. And they are, when we do this technique, when we press a sharp instrument on the skin, these dead erythrocytes, they are squeezed out of the capillaries. They don't do, this technique doesn't broke the capillaries, so there is no bleeding, but they are just squeezed out like a dead form, and it goes to the interstitial space. When the stagnant blood is in the wrong place, it activates these mechanisms of protection and regeneration. So the body sees that there's something wrong in this place. We need to heal that place faster. So this immune system activates this regeneration and renewing process, and that is the idea behind this treatment. And if there is no stagnated blood in the capillaries, there is no bruises or rednesses after this procedure. So this treatment is also adapted in scanner therapy. So we don't really make it like bruises or something like that, but sometimes after this treatment there might be small red dots on the skin, which shows that there might be these signs that the stagnant blood is out of the capillaries. But to do this treatment, we use a big comb, preferably this one, not the other one, which is very sharp. So because with this is quite similar with what they use in the original Washout method. So you can press quite hard within this method to also get this stagnant blood out of the capillaries. And there is a specific settings for cleansing. You just use different FMWAR settings. This is SV 1, 2, 3, 4, and you use it for like a cycle. You start usually with SV4, then 3, next day 3, next day 2, then 1, and then again you start from the beginning with 4. Usually, as I was told, this technique is very good if you combine it with classical cleansing technique, like a zigzag. You probably all know zigzag, right? So one time you do this one, the other time you do classical zigzag. When you do this technique, client is usually lying down horizontally, and in each step he's changing his position. He's rotating on the table. Yes. As I said, it's combined with the zigzag, and the effect from this therapy, from this technique, is that it helps to clean the energy flow. It really activates the also both central and peripheral nervous systems. It allows to balance use sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems as well. And also, if the person has lung problems, it helps to clean the lung organ or also abdominal system as well. If you have a good dynamic on the body while you have this treatment, then it actually gives you very, very good results. The person feels much more vital, much more energetic afterwards, and it also gives you a lot of noticing about where are asymmetries on the body. So the treatment, this is key of how you should treat the person, but I will show you how it's really done. So there is 3 parts of it. The first part, there are 4 vectors on the first part. So you start with the first vector on the usually on the left side of the therapist. You start right next to the C7, and you go down like that. until the sacrum, and then again up. And you, usually I was told to do that for 4 times, but I think it's best to do that until dynamics. So this is what we are always looking for. We are looking for dynamics, for changing in the body. So I do that only until dynamics is shown. So up, down, all the time. Next vector is just on the opposite track. Exactly the same. You do that, you can choose 4 times or until dynamics. Then third vector starts from the ending of the hair on the left side, and you go down until C7, and again up, again until the dynamics. Yes?
Do you remove the comb or it?
No, I don't remove. I do it like that. I will show you, okay? And or maybe you will show me how you prefer to do it, and we will teach it triangular as well. And then opposite again as well. So this is the first part of it. Then you ask the patient to turn around on the table. And of course you use comfortable energy, and usually the same energy amount which was on the back, they are comfortable on the front as well, but you still need to check it. And there are also 4 vectors on the front. You start on the left side from the therapist view. You start here where is what is called? Collarbone, right? Yes. So you start there, and you go down until this ribs, last rib here. And then again up, until you got dynamics. Up, down and up until you got dynamics. Then the opposite side again. Down and up until dynamics. Then this will help for the lung problems as well. Probably, it should. Then you work with abdomen, 2 vectors. You start from the left side. You go from ribs to the groin and back. So up and down, and then to the opposite side. The same vector until dynamics. That's how I prefer it. And then the third part. You ask the patient again to turn around. Ramenko especially said that it's very important all the time to turn around. I can't explain why. That was his understanding of how the good therapy should be done. Probably because you actually involve the patient. He's not just lying down and having treatment, but he's actually doing something as well. The third part is the vector and central nervous system. You started from the top of the spinal cord, and you go down to the this tailbone, like that. Rebecca also said that you do it 2 times. This and 2 times, not 4 times, but 2 times. I don't have explanation for that. That's why I always do it until dynamics. That is how I understand why we actually are doing it. We are trying to make some changes in the body, and until I see the changes has happened, I keep working. If it's not working as I'm hoping it should, I change settings. If I don't see the dynamics, I just change settings. So probably it's not the right settings for that place. So this is the first technique. How would you prefer it? Do we go through all of them and then we try all of them what we want, or you want to try right now?
One by one.
One by one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. Then I would ask you all to get up and to choose who is going to be, as one of my colleagues said, guinea pig. So who wants to be guinea pig and who wants to try it out, and I will assist you.
I can try out.
You can try, very good. So who wants to be guinea pig? Very good. Yes, I remember you asked me if you could be guinea pig. So you have your device. You can start with the settings. SV4, that's the recommended ones, but you can choose your own as well. You know how to use this?
Yes.
Very good. You should lie down. You should wear the this off if you don't mind. Very nice. Yes, you can use bio regime as well. It's very nice regime. I love it as well. Actually, lately I always use this. So, and you should lie on your belly. right? We don't have anything to lie down under. So, yeah, okay, let's put it here, right? Okay. Would you like to come here and look? If you don't, that's also an option. We will open it, okay? We will open it. And we should take this a little bit lower because we need to get until the tailbone, okay? She's my Okay, this will be probably enough, okay? So you
So we start from
yes,
the left side.
yes. But we start with finding comfortable image. Exactly.
Tell me when you feel the energy of polar like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Is it okay or I can increase?
Yep.
You should definitely check. Yes, exactly.
Is it okay?
It's okay. It's about 50, right?
Yes, it's
46.
46.
Okay.
So it's perfect.
Yes, exactly. From the level of C7, you just
Slide it.
yes, you slide it down. The idea is that you also use pressure.
Yes, I use slide, not too much.
This time, as it is adapted from the Washout,
So a little bit more.
it might be a little bit more because we might get more reaction
What
from it.
about these parts of where
You be careful.
Okay.
You be careful. I would say that you go around it a little bit.
Yes.
So there was how it's called
More.
Mole.
mole. Okay. So
So avoiding
yeah, something like that. Yes, and up.
Slow, do you move it slowly or you can do it faster?
It depends on the skin as well. So you have to feel the patient. Sometimes you will feel that you have to do it very, very slowly because maybe there will be stickiness.
Yeah, I feel stickiness.
You feel stickiness, so you even can't do it very, very fast, right? But sometimes you will feel that it just goes very easily and you will do it a little bit faster. But in this technique, you can do a bigger this pressure as well. And you can see there is this only second time
and
it's already, there is a big dynamic.
like here's
It's sticky
it's
here.
very sticky.
So you also get the information about the stickiness as well.
How do you feel?
Good. Usually, everybody is concerned about that this comb is actually like very sharp. People think that it's very, very sharp and very uncomfortable, right? But it actually, usually it isn't. How do you feel? Is it sharp for you or it's just
Slash. How do you feel?
Nathalie, comment tu te sens?
So it is a little bit different than classical scanner therapy, right?
Mhm.
Yes, because there is this pressure as well. Sometimes I don't see it right now, but we won't see it always. Sometimes we also can see these small red dots that are appearing on the skin. That is not this blushing of the skin. It's this, I'm sorry?
The tissues, little bleeding.
Yes.
This stagnating blood coming out from the capillaries.
There's not this area here, this the sacrum.
It's sticky. Okay.
Sticky.
Okay. Also, maybe you have noticed that when you're doing classical zigzag, there are times when you get dynamics on only upper side, right? And that lower side is quite asleep. There is a very only a few times there is a dynamic.
But when you're talking about dynamic, the redness is already done, already
Yes,
there.
yes.
You can stop.
Yes,
right?
we need, well, ideally, Rabenko said we need 4 times.
Okay.
But
At least
I
4
do-
times.
From the other side?
it's what he said. I would already stopped
Yeah.
here. Because, yes, that's enough for me because I can see dynamic. And I like this technique because I can see that I can get, if it's too strong, then you definitely have to say.
The energy too strong or the pressure?
No, the pressure.
The pressure, okay. Is it scraping or the pressure like this is too strong?
The pressure like this is too strong.
Pressure, so you don't feel the scraping, but you feel the pressure.
Comment tu dis?
Le scraping, c'est quand on te frotte, tu sais
Scraping,
comme
ouais,
Ça fait trop
c'est trop fort, c'est ça, c'est ça. She doesn't like the scraping.
Ok,
She doesn't like the scraping.
Okay. Okay, okay.
Pressure is fine,
The scraping. She feels scraping, yeah. The Washout method is based on that. You kind of scrape. If the person doesn't like it, then you shouldn't make this technique to this person. That's how easy it is. But there are persons who, for example, I have one patient who just doesn't go away from my practice until I do this to him because he loves this scraping. He needs it to have this sensation. So this is just one thing you can do because you need to adapt what your patient needs, what he's asking.
C'est pas agréable, quoi.
And I like this technique because usually you get the dynamic in the whole line, not only on the upper part or the lower part.
Tu veux qu'il live?
Non, c'est juste que c'est pas agréable parce que ça fait comme si on
I would say the dynamic is good. You can do it until the upper part, and if you need, you can help with hands, right? So that's easier, that will be smoother. Okay, the next part, we do the neck, okay? So for the neck, you should put your, like that. You start here, yes, where the hairline is, and you go a little bit like, yes, like that, and up. Down now. You can see here, you can do it faster, easier. Right? And dynamic, I would say we can see the dynamic, so that's enough. Yeah. Usually you end where you started. That's the cycle idea, the main principle. So I prefer you to go there and go back. You end where you started, right? Yes, very nice. And then you go back to the back, you go to the opposite side and do the same thing there. Yes, and you can see the dynamics. It's very good. We don't see like very specific small asymmetries, right? Maybe this place a little bit. If you see something very specific,
There's a little bit dullness.
yeah, then you can work it out with 4 vectors or D0, right? Okay, we will help her with this. Now we'll ask you to rotate. Okay? Okay. Now we will have a problem. Okay. What are you going to do? So we can the next part is that we should go from this bone to the ribs.
Yeah. So at this moment, I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want. I also think you don't want to do that. So we are going to skip this part. Okay, if you are okay with that.
Yeah.
Do you understand what we are going to do? Okay, and we'll do the next part only for this case. So we will start here and go. Yes, exactly. To check the energy.
If the lymph nodes were removed in the hands, then what do you do? If some lymph nodes were removed in the hands.
If the lymph nodes are removed, you still can work on that place because energetically, you have an energetic system which is responsible for your lymph movement in your body, and this energetic system is still in your whole body. Even if some lymph nodes and the lymph vessels are removed from the body, the energetic side is still. It's still there. So you have to work with whole body to
So if
harmonize.
they were removed in the hands, we would work in the whole body and around. So.
We will get to the lymphatic system, and I will show you what I do when my patients have a problem with that. Okay?
Sorry, I started out.
Yeah.
So I start
Yeah,
from
yeah,
here.
You start from here, and you go down there.
She said that she feels.
Here, when you touch here, I can feel on
You
the
can
leg.
feel
Yeah,
leg.
absolutely.
Okay, okay.
When people, when women go on the breast, that must be very uncomfortable for women, right?
Well, if it is, then you shouldn't make this technique. Yes, you shouldn't work on that spot.
You skip this part.
I usually just don't make this procedure at all. This is usually not the first thing I do when it's the first time I meet the person, right? So I get to know if the person is comfortable by showing breasts or working on that.
Sorry about showing breast.
Oh,
just going.
Well,
no,
I haven't had any woman
complaining.
who's complaining about it. So that's it. If I have a woman who doesn't want me to work on the breast, then that's a different question. But the scraping part, I haven't had it. Yes.
Yeah, the bishop yapıyorum. Biz
So
böyle
I found
Okay.
dynamic, so I moved to the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a little bit I felt
Yeah.
a little bit sticky here, but then I asked if she actually
Yeah.
the wire, she said that she feels
Sevin şu bir
Okay, okay.
And so you can do it when it's your months for the girl?
Yes, you can do that. You can sometimes, for example, if the woman has a period, you can see asymmetries which appears, which are related to the period, and if the period is painful or irregular, then this is the case when you can work on these asymmetries because your body is projecting what is happening at that moment on your skin,
Okay.
and you can find better small asymmetries.
But when you do that, I can feel more when you're here, you go like that. So it's
You should the pressure should be
Yeah.
equal.
smooth. Yes, flat. Yes, exactly.
But it's not really, comment tu dis agréable?
It's not
comfortable.
Whatever.
Yeah, but it's very agreeable.
Yes.
Let's see.
Okay.
It's a scrubbing.
Okay. We have a good dynamic here, so let's
Turn around.
turn around. Thank you.
Turn around again.
Yes, you turn around again. And then we have a potential pathway. It starts from the end of the here and into the table. Yeah.
Energy.
It's okay? Then
The
it's
same energy.
It's okay.
But here is a little bit, this.
Yes. So you can help with your.
She starts sweating. That's really good. I mean,
That's really
that's
good.
mean
She's actually quite wet, to
Yes.
be honest. So the parasympathetic system as well
Yes.
starts. And not to get this, sometimes skin is not very helping, right? Because it's like doing these things. Then you just help with the fingers. Yes, yes, do like that. And it's much easier.
Probably
See?
not that painful. for
Yeah,
her.
yeah. And in this central pathway, we can see that there are some small asymmetries. There are very good reaction. There is almost none, right? But if we have dynamic, then actually that's it. That's what we're looking for. So this is
You want
it.
more?
Okay, thank you.
C'est bizarre ça. Ça fait mal en fait.
So how do you feel? That's it. You can.
Yeah, I feel.
Yeah, but how do you feel?
I feel good, but I don't like the sensation.
You don't
with
like
that.
sensation.
No, it's not
Even if
really.
it's not energy, see, it's not like.
Yes.
But probably I guess that's the.
That is the kind of the basic reason behind this technique.
Because
that
I
it
know
is
this with the
scraping.
stone,
You know.
with the scraping.
Yes,
No,
it's
not
not
very
comfortable.
But
It's not
afterwards,
comfortable. Exactly. So this is the technique which is not comfortable. That's true for most of the persons. But it is the same idea behind classical original Washout technique. It is not comfortable, it's just effective. That's how it is. So you can choose whether you want to do it to your patient or you don't. If it's the patient is very sensitive, you just don't do it. That's it. Do you have questions about this technique? Or we can go.
Sometimes you have to ask the patient, you want to feel better and healthy.
Exactly.
It's not massage, like to relax.
Exactly. So, and the patient won't sleep. So. The results from this technique is further relaxation in the circulatory system. It's actually the whole body detoxification, anti-inflammatory effect as well, immunity boost, and the cell regeneration increases. And also the parasympathetic and sympathetic system is balancing themselves. That's one thing you can do for informative cleansing. Then there are vipers. There are original version, and then there are adapted version. It's not that there will be some very big differences, but the idea is that we also, again, use the big calm. We don't use such a big pressure. We just use slight movement. In original version, there are specific settings for it. I think that you just do countable energy and settings that are needed. For example, if you have more chronic patient, you use more lower frequencies, for example. If you are the person in acute stage, you use higher frequencies, okay? But you can use just whatever is written down here. But I used countable energy, not 10 till 15. And in original version, there were 2 levels were to work on, but I prefer to do on the whole spine, step by step, lowering the stimulated area. What I like with this technique, it provides you with gradual body opening and activization. So when you do classical zigzag, you do the whole body and then again hold back and again hold back. And usually the biggest activization part is on the shoulders area, right? Sometimes on kidney area as well. But this helps you to spend on the specific zone as much time as you need to activate it, and to get the result that whole your body is whole your back is activated. Yeah, that is what I like it about this method. And the last vector I do it on the opposite opposite side. Yeah, so to activate in energy, which comes from the ground. So I will show you how it looks. So this is the main vectors. Maybe there could be 4 of this kind, and then the last one like this. And you just take a big cone and you do the movement like this until dynamics. Again, you just activate that zone. Then when you have done it, you just move to the next level, 1 step lower, and you again do it like that until dynamics. And then again, 1 step lower, you do it like that. These are very easy protocols that everybody can do at home for cleansing and for self-immunity boosts and stuff like that. And the last one, I do it opposite. It's more comfortable and it stimulates energy which comes from the ground. So to this direction. This is so easy. Should anybody wants to try it out, because we have a lot of things to go still, or this is understandable? Yeah, we can go further. Good. Next one is meridian cleansing. Maybe a lot of knows about it already. So this also improves energy flow, but in extremities. So we have meridians here in extremities on the hands and on the feet, and we are helping them to clean this energy flow in these extremities. So there are specific settings like like this D0 mode, and you can use SV, but the main thing is just you use comfortable energy. Everything else is up to you. Again, what you need. Do you have chronic stage or acute stage? You choose what you feel is the best for the patient. You can use different electrodes for this. You can use the coaxial electrode. You can use small or big comp. You can use slider. You can use even mushrooms. If you use mushrooms, you take passive electrode, you put it in the palm, and you work with the active electrode on the hand. That is the main idea. And you just work on the extremity from the large joints like hip or shoulder until the fingers. And you usually treat only one side. You treat the inside or you treat the outside of the extremity. And it depends on the problem the person has. For example, if you have a diagnostic and you see that the person has a problem with yin energy flow, then you just treat inside of the body. And you can see, do you need the treatment on the arms or you need the treatment on the legs? So you depend on that. If you really think that the person just has a problem with whole arm, then you can treat both sides as well. Usually I do that, again, until dynamics. That is my settings, but at least 3 times, okay? And if you find a small symmetry in this method, then you do work it through with 4 vectors. And so when I use it, if the patient has a complaint in 1 or 2 or how many extremities he has, so you do it when the problem is on extremities, or if the diagnostics shows the disbalance is in the meridians. So if you have the disbalance from H1 to H3, then you use inside of the hands. If H4 till H6, then yang side of the hands, and the same with the feet. F1 to F3 inside, F4 till F6 yang side. So if there is a disbalance in the energy flow, then you can use this technique to help it to go. So you also can start, I would advise you to start with the opposite zone or symmetric zone, and only then to the complaint zone. So you usually work with 2 extremities or 2 sides. For example, if the person has a problem with these meridians or with this hand here, then I would start with this hand and only then I would go to this hand. So I use symmetrical zones to activate the body, especially if it's a chronic state. So that is very, very, very easy. You start with the biggest joint, in this case with the shoulders, and you just work it down like with the zigzag, but preferably until this place, until the fingers, and you do it until dynamics. And then you, or to the opposite side, you just work it down with the zigzag until dynamics. If there is a small symmetry, you just work it through. Easy, right? Any questions about this? No, right? We don't have to try. Let's go.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Talking about H1 to H3 or
Yes, H1 to H3. It's hands.
hands. So the first meridian, okay.
Yes,
Yin and yang.
yes, yin yang. Exactly. Sorry. So next one. Yes.
So you're going from
From
the
top
from
to bottom. From top to bottom.
And do you come back or?
You can come back. The idea is that if you have reduced energy flow in these meridians, for example, yin meridians on the hand, then to boost the energy flow, the best direction is this one. Then you just go like that, but you don't do zigzags. Usually you just go like that, right?
Yeah.
If you have too high energy flow in those meridians, then you go the opposite version, right?
Yes.
But this time, we just do cleansing. We kind of don't boost the energy, the channels. So actually, I would say it doesn't matter. So you just do this vector. You can do it both ways if you want to. I haven't seen no proof that one or the other way is better than, yeah. So if you want to stimulate or increase or press down the energy, then you do according to the vectors like that, one to side to the other. If you just want to clean the meridians, then you do the zigzag. And I would say that it doesn't matter to which side. Okay? The next one is pressure technique. This is a little harsh as well. I wouldn't recommend you to make this technique if you don't know the person very well. Yes, but if you know this person very well, and you know that this person is comfortable with some comfortable energy level, if you know this person is comfortable with myostimulation, if you know this person has very, very bad conditions, very chronic conditions, or muscle tone dysfunctions, or paralysis, then I advise you to do this. This is the thing that helps me every day to deal with, for example, my husband who has very, very, very bad disease, and this is almost the only thing that with what I can help him. But you really need to have a patient who trusts you and who can be free while doing this, because this is not comfortable as well. This technique kind of provides you with a restart button. It kind of makes the body to restart its functions, to rethink what he's doing and what to maybe to do something else. So what do? I use mushrooms for this. And I would say that the settings for this is quite specific and quite important. I use only very low frequencies, from 15 and lower, so from 6 to 15 usually. I use quite high intensity. I would say 2 to 4, but sometimes I use even higher, but only there's some kind of So I can't do too much as well. So I'm looking how the patient's feeling, and I increase the gap as well. And the energy level is subcomfortable usually. The bone is whole back except the spine area, from top to the bottom. You can also include the neck area if you want to as well. And the technique is very, very easy. You kind of just put the electrodes around the spine, and you go to the sides with them, and you do that very, very slowly. And the idea, and you do it step by step, lower and lower and lower. And what we are looking for is dynamic reaction with muscle contraction. I'm looking for muscle contractions on the back, and then I'm looking what kind of asymmetries it shows to me. Sometimes only one side of the body is contracting, the other one isn't. It means that there is some weak muscle that doesn't want to react on the stimulus, and the other one is compensating for that. Sometimes there are some pain, only one side, and sometimes on both sides. If the redness shows, it usually does. It also can show us where is the symmetries, and sometimes the best part is that they stay there for quite a long time, so you can actually, you don't have to mark anything, the picture is there. Yes, as I said, we are looking for the muscle contractions, and as the energy is subcomfortable, so to relax, we're asking the patient to concentrate on the breathing. So it is subcomfortable, but he's just thinking and breathing in and out, and in and out. And you, as a therapist, you have to help him. So when do I use this? I use it for back pain and deformations, for muscle tone disbalance.
By deformations, you mean like
Scoliosis, for example. Yes, for example. I use it for spastic muscle release. If there are some specific very spastic muscle, then as well I use it. And if the person is in very chronic state, and we have tried like anything, and there's nothing I can do, and sometimes I have this feeling. Sometimes, then this technique, if the person allows me to do it, then it's very, very effective. Like very effective, but it's radical as well. So this is how it looks. This is how it looks. And today, because I don't know you, I know her, I will show it to her so that you would understand what I'm speaking about, because yeah, you will probably see what's happening. It's as easy as it looks. It's very, very easy. You just put mushrooms to both sides and slide to the you see, to the opposite sides. And it doesn't matter on which side you put red or passive or active electrode. If I see that there is a disbalance in one horizontal, then I just change them, switch them, and I try again. If it still stays there, this disbalance, then I know that it is body disbalance. If it is changing, shifting while I'm changing the electrodes, then I know it was just a vector problem. So on which side was the active or passive. So, yes, let's try this out, okay? So, I will here. Sometimes it is more painful to go over the scapulus, so just see what is okay with your patient and what is not. Some people say it's okay, it's painful, more painful, but you still can do that. Some people say it's too much, so just then don't do that. I will put frequency 8.6 and intensity will be 4. Gap will be 40, for example. But there is no like right settings for that. You have to best if you see with the patient how it feels. Does it feel like the impulse goes very, very deep and allows you to contract the muscles? Or if it's just scraping your skin, then the effect won't be so good. In that case, I would change the settings. So let's see about the energy. I'll put it here. And it should be comfortable. Remember that. You with it? You okay? So she's saying we can more. How about now? Okay. So it's 130. Okay? So this should be uncomfortable. It's like she shouldn't scream, but she should be like a little bit like that. So, okay? She's saying we can do more. She's saying still. Again? There is one level when you feel it hard, but then it's not like going like harder, harder, harder. It's just different sensation. It becomes to be a different sensation, and it's very like. You okay? Lower. Like it. Okay, then let's stay with 163. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? So I said, the person needs to be comfortable with you, and you need to be comfortable with the patient. Okay, never do that for the Yes. So I will start with the from the C7 in this case because her neck is very fragile. I would say that. I start. So I put it around the spine. I put it like that, and I can see muscle contractions, right? And they're quite symmetrical. Well, I would say they are quite symmetrical. Okay, so both sides were moving. Then one step lower. So which side? This side. Only this side. Usually I would just mark it down, so I would know that there is something that is different than on this side. We want to work through the asymmetry this time, okay? Because I need to show you what else. But we can also stick only until the scapulus, because the scapular part is more painful, okay? So I would do that. I will do that. So you can see this part is moving higher than the other part. That shoulder, you see, it's getting higher.
Can you repeat again in which case you switch the electrodes?
So if I have asymmetries, for example, here we had this this problem here. Okay, we can come back here. So we'll try again this place. We'll repeat. Still this part, right? Still this part. See? I just know her. That's why. I just know that there's a problem. Okay, but this is the body problem, not the electrode problem. You see? So, okay, it's not comfortable, but she will like. She'll be alive afterwards. So trust me. So next step. Okay. Which part? Which side? Still this side, and there was a bigger movement as well. Okay.
Pourquoi elle s'arrête quand elle commence à crier?
Parce que c'est très, très, très confortable.
So it's actually, you are just asking the body to restart its functions because it is really uncomfortable with this.
It's a reset.
Yes, it is a reset. She's moving quite fine. If you would see my husband, oh my God, he's jumping on this bed. You see, only one side again, right? So I can see asymmetries like that, but these asymmetries are restarting themselves afterwards. So because the effect of if you have pain or something, if the person has pain, or for example, my husband has a very bad syndrome, which is called Charcot-Marie syndrome, and his body is like blocking. Like he's moving normally 1 week, the next week the body is just blocking. He just can't do the movement at all. Some of his muscles are not working. This is the only thing that helps. The only thing. So this is the only thing that I have found which actually can. So these spots as well. We don't like these spots, right? Okay. Spus bien, pues. These were both sides.
You know, sometimes your sensation that say, you know, it's all my left side that's
Yes. Yes.
That's the kind of procedure you can do when they
Yes.
complaining about, you know, my left side is not.
She's laughing. She's laughing.
It's like dance on the seashore, it's
Because she's laughing, she's not crying.
She's not sleeping.
Yeah, she's not sleeping at all.
Was better yesterday.
Like yesterday.
Yeah. There is pain as well.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
There is, as you see, these sides, we had very little muscle contraction here. So it can show us that there is a weaker muscles probably, right? But in both sides, they weren't like activating themselves. No pain at all. I would do it usually just until the sacrum right here, and that's it. Usually these spots are also very sensitive as well, very often. And then I can, if I mark down my asymmetries, then I can really check what's happening there. I don't know, have you ever got the patient who kind of has no problem at all, or maybe has some problem, but then you just can find one spot which is so painful, but only when you're not putting the coaxial electrode like that, but when you are like putting one mushroom here and the other one, I don't know, here, and then it feels so much pain, like a needle would have stuck there. And this is the technique which helps to find those spots. And when you find those spots, I always treat them different ways, like whatever, you can put small crosses or you can combine them with different spots. And this is how I'm trying to find which area is corresponding to other areas. And in this technique, I can find these small spots and then I try out how to combine them to regulate them. And then, again, you can come back with these settings and do it again and see if it's harmonizing or it's not, or it's still asymmetric. That's it for this. Thank you. How do you feel? How do you this? She's going to. So, how do you feel?
Nu nekas nesenāk pilnīgi.
Pirms tam sāpēja?
Nu, es biju nogurusi un tāda savilta.
Okay, before this, I didn't ask her before because I knew, but you didn't. So
Es biju nosalusi, tagad silts.
she was cold. She was very tired, and she was very tense. All her body was very tense, and now she's feeling warm. She's feeling very freely. So yeah, so she doesn't feel this tension anymore in her body at all. But how did you felt the procedure? Kā tev tā procedūra?
Oi, paši.
So it is painful, but usually after the procedure, this is the common answer.
Jā,
It's weird,
But he
that
knows
is,
it.
yeah, it just works like
Jo
that.
tajā momentā ir sāpīgi, bet kā aiziet kaut kur nākošais, tad tas jau vairs jau viss ir tā kā.
So at that moment, you feel the pain, but it also has the sensation that the impulse got somewhere, that there is like it's something doing there. There's the body feels that there was a problem and somebody finally touched that problem. That is the sensation. And when you take the electrodes off, you don't feel that sensation anymore. So we're alive at the end.
Man patika tās dejas, nu tās.
So, about lymphatic system, the next topic about lymphatic system. This is a small theory part, which I hope we can skip. So this is like basics about lymphatic. There are lymphatic nodes, there are lymphatic vessels, and the important part of the lymphatic system to clean it, you just need to know in which direction lymphatic lymph flows, okay? So don't mess about it. So don't mess with it. That's basically almost it. This is some images about lymphatic system from how it consists. And the very important part is to know where to find lymphatic nodes or groups of nodes, because in these spots we can work the best with lymphatic system. So that is the picture where you can see the groups of lymph nodes. And also, you should know that there are two biggest parts of the lymphatic vessel. It is divided into the left vessel and right vessel. The right lymphatic vessel has the lymph from the right hand, neck, head, and the right breast part, and the left vessel gets the lymph from all other body parts. So this is how it's divided in the body. And there's also written which lymph node groups collects lymph from where. So, for example, lymph nodes in the groins takes all the lymph from the leg. So that's like the basics, but I don't know. I don't have to repeat it, but still it's here. And so for the lymphatic system treatment, it usually takes a vector. We create a vector in the direction where the lymph goes. So if the lymph goes from the foot to the groin, then the vector is from down to up. That is the main idea. Never work from the opposite direction if you especially want to work with the lymphatic system. For example, if the person has edema or what else? If you know that the lymphatic nodes are very puffy, or I don't know the word. Maybe you can help. If lymphatic nodes are very
Swollen?
yes,
Swollen.
thank you. Sorry, this is not my native language. So, and what else? This is what Rebenko told us. I'm not really sure if this is if there are some kind of background to this knowledge. But the idea is that if you work with lymphatic nodes or some specific areas for lymphatic system, you work counterclockwise. But I don't have explanation why. Maybe you do have explanation. Somebody? No? Someone? No. Yeah. I don't know either. This is the theory, but what I would say, it doesn't matter if you work clockwise or anti-clockwise or clockwise if you work on the lymphatic node. You just activate the lymphatic node. That's it. But this is how I was told. So let's stick to it for now. Let's work anti-clockwise direction. Okay.
It may be an explanation in Chinese medicine.
Yeah, I tried to look for it. I didn't find it. Maybe you will, then I will be very, very happy because I still doesn't have the explanation for that.
But you know, Kuliski was saying that it's like opening a bottle. So you do counterclockwise because it just opens.
It's very good explanation.
Okay, good.
Why not? So you remember, you have to
Yes,
empty the liquid.
Yes,
So you open the cork.
yes. But the idea, we will, for example, we will try out the waves. Maybe you know waves, lymphatic waves.
Yes.
Okay. So who knows the waves? There are two different waves. There are lymphatic waves and there are energy waves. Actually, they are the same. The only difference is either you do the joints clockwise or anti-clockwise. That was the only difference between energy waves and lymphatic waves. So, well, I would say that the energy flow influences lymphatic flow. So actually, you can do it both ways, and they both will, energy and lymphatic flow will both interact with each other. But you can stick to the original version, that for the lymphatic flow, you open the bottle. Thank you. So this is the lymphatic flow in the body, like also a few images for that. And let's start with the techniques. First of all, abdominal drainage. I would say this is a very nice procedure you can do when you deal with obesity, different kind of digestive problems, when the person has immune system problems, also emotional problems as well, because a lot of emotions stays here in the abdomen. Or if the person has also some kind of problems with the central nervous system or the brain, because this is a reciprocal area. And the idea is that you divide abdomen into the 4 quadrants, as we already know that. And we treat each of the quadrants individually. And we do it from the center to the periphery. And there are specific settings. Ravenko also told that you should do it 44, 24, 34, 54, or whatever with force. I also don't have explanation why to do that. I'm sorry, but I haven't got the answer. I'm just showing what is my knowledge. But I usually just intuitively, yeah. I just have my gut of what settings to use at a specific moment for each patient. That's it. So, and I use comfortable energy. There are different kind of electrodes you can use. You can use coaxial, you can use small foam, you can use facial electrode, you can use slider, whatever is best for you and for your patient. So, what do? We divide. Yes.
Because in the settings, in the previous stuff, you said Z44. What does it mean, the Z?
Gap. Gap. So yes, sometimes in some devices it's called sect. In all devices, yes. I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. It's gap. So we divide abdomen into the 4 squares, and we start with 1, and we will do it anti-clockwise direction. Okay. And at the beginning, we just do a vector from the central to the periphery. We do that like that. We just do these vectors. And then again, we start from the beginning. We do these vectors to the this line, just middle line. Okay. And how do you think, until what time, how long do we do it? Until dynamics. It's my only answer always. We do everything until dynamics, because then we see, yes, it worked. So it really worked. And if there is a small asymmetry, we work with the small asymmetry. When the first quadrant is done, we have a dynamic here. Then we move to the second one, again until dynamics. Then to the third one. until dynamics. And then the last one. This is abdominal drainage. I like to do this procedure with the small cone. I would say that then I get the best results. I can't explain you why. This is my experience. But I would say 80% when I do it with small cone, it's much more better dynamics. So this is like very easy. Should we try it? Or let's move on, right? Exactly. Next one is even more easier. The spleen and liver drainage. For that, you use mushrooms, usually like that, like this. There is settings as well, but again, I would say use whatever is appropriate for your patient and for you. There is no very specific rules for that. And the zone is very small. You use arch rib, this area where I forgot the name again. Doesn't matter, the arch rib. And the treatment, you just put pairs of the mushrooms from the center to the sides, and you hold until 30 seconds. But again, what we are looking for is muscle contraction. A small one, not like I showed you just before. A small muscle contraction, and that's it. If we got it, great. Then we move forward after 30 seconds. If we can't get it, sometimes it will be like that. Then we change to mode D1. Then we just put their doses. Each position we will dose each position. Or you can put zeros as well if the dose is like not very satisfying for you. When to do this the technique is when the person has complaint with the spleen, liver, stomach, or pancreas, or any other kind of non-specific dysfunction, for example, constipation, or if the immune system is weakening. When I talked with my colleague, who's a physiotherapist, he said this is the best technique you can do where if the person has severe physical activities. For example, he's running a marathon. Then after the marathon, this is the best thing you can do, because right from this area, this is the area where physiotherapists would work after the running, for example. So also legs, to just massage the legs, but they would activate the lymphatic system in this area. So this is what I'm doing if the person has a severe physical activity on the legs. Yes?
You have to switch the mushroom? You do it like that, and after you do it?
I would say that I would do it like that. So you will see how. The first round, I would put it like that. Then next stage, I'm changing, and then again like that. This is how I'm doing. So should I repeat it? Yes. So like that, 30 seconds. 30 seconds, 30 seconds. Sometimes there won't be 3 positions, maybe there will be 5 positions, or
Depends
how big is the person. That's But you do it for the arch. So, and the best if you can do it like not just put it, kind of press it in a little bit to more diagonally.
On the ribs or under?
Under.
Kind of under. To get to the diaphragm. That was the word. I forgot. So like this, okay? And then you can get a better muscle stimulation, this myostimulation. This is very easy as well, right? We don't have to. Okay, yeah, let's go. Lymphatic flowers or blossoms or flowers. Let's call it flowers. So we use coaxial electrode or small cone or facial electrode or slider or whatever is easiest for you. There are specific settings for that, but again, as needed in situation. And the idea is that we work with lymph node groups on the groins, armpits, elbows, or knees. These are the biggest ones on the extremities. So because lymphatic flowers are done on extremities. And again, there will be like vectors from the periphery to the center in the counterclockwise direction. And Each circle will be repeated at least 3 times, but again, until the dynamics. I would say until the dynamics. If you have this very specific small asymmetry, then work it out with the D1 mode until the 0. And I usually treat at least, I usually do at least 3 lymphatic flowers. If I do this, if the person has problems in extremity. For example, if the person has problem in the left hand, for example, in the carpal tunnel, yeah, you understood me. Thank you. So I would work. I would like to work with the shoulder, but before that, I would start with the opposite, not opposite, but reciprocal. For example, with this groin, and then with the symmetrical, so with the shoulder, and only then I would go to that shoulder I am willing to work on. So, and indications, different kind of complaints and pain in extremities or inflammation in the extremities, also immune system weakness, or when the person has colds or something like that. So how it looks like this easy. You just choose your lymphatic node group, for example, groin, and you work from the periphery to the center like that. And you do this circle counterclockwise direction until dynamics. And sometimes there will be small asymmetries, like everything is reddish, and then there's one small white spot. Then you work on this white spot with D1 mode until the zeros. This is the first spot. Then I can choose this one. About the armpits. So the best way where to do that is exactly here on the armpits, because there are the lymphatic nodes. But sometimes persons are not very comfortable with this place. So when they're not comfortable, I do it here on the projection, like it's written here. But this is much more better. This is much more better if you do it on armpits here. Okay. But sometimes, if, for example, armpit is very hairy, you need small comfort that as well. There are very often when there are small asymmetries, and there might be as well why armpit is more not so easy. It's because it might be sweaty and there might be more stickiness. That's why this is a little bit sometimes harder and people feel discomfortable. So then you can do it like that if people doesn't like it, but this is more effective. And so the last one here. So this is easy as well, right? I would like to show you the last one. I think this will be the last one. So the waves. Everybody knows the waves? Everybody knows the waves. No, you don't know. Oh, okay. Then we will talk about the waves. But I will show. The idea is that you work on the joints, on lymphatic node groups on the joints, but in specific sequence. I have adapted the sequence because the original idea was that you choose 2 limbs. It doesn't matter if they are both, no, it kind of matters, but you can choose both legs, you can choose both arms, or you can choose one side, like one arm, one leg. Oh, yeah, okay. You work from, for example, if you choose both legs, I'll come here, then you start with one joint and you go like that to this joint. So that was the direction. But as we know, lymphatic flow goes only to the center, right? So from my experience, this direction is not very logical, right? It's not very logical for me, at least. That's why I have a little bit adapted but I have understanding why this is also okay, and this is also very acceptable to do the original way, but I will show you the adapted version. So I also choose 2 limbs So there will be 3 joints on each limb, which we'll work on. And I also work counterclockwise direction. We will make spirals on these joints. I use only the vector from periphery to the center. So as the lymph flow goes. And I can use different electrodes for that. At the beginning, what I did, I just did at the beginning 1 extremity, and we only work on the inside on each joint. So we started from the palm here, we worked until dynamics, then the elbow here, and then the armpit here until dynamics. That was the first thing. And then I went from the other extremity again, from the periphery to the center. For example, like this. So if we use legs, then inside the, what's it called? Ankle, thank you. I'm sorry, then the knee, this side of the knee, and then the groin. So it's like that. But this is actually taking a lot of time. It's very effective, but it's taking a lot of time. And I thought that there is, I think, a better way how to do it. And I do that with the magic gloves, as Lena is also showing us how to use them. And what is the best way is I do this technique if I choose 1 arm and 1 leg, usually. Yes. Then I do with magic gloves. And I ask the patient to participate in this procedure. This is how and why this technique is getting even more effective, because the person is participating in the procedure. So I have to show you, and then you will understand, because I can see that my language is getting worse and worse. I'll just show you, okay? So I need another participant. Is there another participant? No, no one. Okay, you will. But I will need leg and arm.
No.
No. Yeah. Okay. Do it not. Yeah. Okay, she will come. Great. So what I need gloves. I also wet them, so I will do it like here. Let's use this glass for that. Okay. So let's use this. We need to be, I would say that the scanner therapist has to be very flexible and they have to be very creative. So let's do it like that. So, and I do something differently than Elena is doing right now. I'm going to do. So you can lie down. Yeah. So she's lying down on the back, and we saw that there might be some problems with her right side, right? Right. So let's treat her right side, okay? Just in case. And what I do was I give one of the vinyl gloves. I'm asking her to wear one of the vinyl gloves, and I'm wearing the other one. So she's wearing this glove. I'm wearing this glove. So now I'm connecting us. So this is connecting people. Okay, now she's lying down. And I will work with this leg, okay? Because we'll have these reciprocal zones, and the body will make dialogue between her leg and with her arm. I will work with her leg. She will work with her arm. in the same time. Okay, and I'm putting these settings. Oh my God, it's finding really hard to speak. And now we are checking the energy. So she's touching her, and I'm touching her. And okay, Target.
But Mas, I have a question about the settings. You said you put energy 20 or I saw in the slide.
Yes, there's like these settings which I have written there. These are advanced settings which I get from the Ravenko. My experience says that for each person you need something else. So each person is an individual being, and we can't say that for this exact settings will work for everyone. So I know her quite well. I know what is good for her, which settings are really working, which maybe not so good. So that's why this time I'm choosing this frequencies, but I also could use some lower frequencies because that's what she likes better actually, and what is usually getting best effect. So, Jyoti?
Jūt mình nói.
So, now?
What will be
Now?
Jūt.
So energy is 40. And what are we doing? We both are working with the joint in counterclockwise way. So just spirals inside of it. And we are looking for dynamics. And she will be the one who will notice dynamics, I think so. Because when the dynamics which we are looking for is stickiness. And when somewhere is stickiness, you see, it's very hard for her. There's stickiness for me too as well.
Wow!
And she feels it very good, you see? There is stickiness. I'm checking. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. I took much less the energy. So now it's 20. It's half. So actually there was already a dynamic, as you saw, because at the beginning she didn't feel as hard, and then there was a stickiness, and then it just actually it just left. There is no stickiness anymore, and when one is feeling stickiness, the other one as well is feeling it, and this is how we can communicate to each other. And then so we actually can stop this area, and then we move to the next one. So I'm asking you to with your arm, yeah, like so. And she's going to her elbow, and again, counterclockwise direction, without.
Nice.
So it's okay for her, the energy is okay. She's like doing these things, but she's always doing that, so. she's like very special patient, trust me, like very special. So we are doing this, view liption. I can see dynamics in her elbow. You can see it's very red. I can feel a small stickiness. Really?
No.
She doesn't feel the stickiness, but mine is very, very small. Okay.
Oh.
No. So it is not subcomfortable. It's still a comfortable energy level. It's just making these movements for her. But yeah, she is very rare patient, so she's doing these things. So we are
She's more sensitive, probably.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that.
Oops.
So, and there is stickiness. And the best thing with this protocol is that the patient's actually working, you know, and he's participating, and he's thinking, oh yeah, there is something, yes, it is sticky, very sticky. Oh no, it got free, that's so nice. We can move on. And this is why the effect is better. If you do,
No, good at all.
okay, she got tired. She got tired. Okay. So she's just staying.
Never been booked. No.
Okay, it's very.
No.
Don't know.
Let's.
Okay, her this shoulder. Sorry, she's very tired. She can't do this anymore. She got very tired. But so we won't do it more. But this is not the usual reaction from this. Usually, we can do this for like half an hour, even if it's needed. And if I would have this bed, I could put her like that in a little bit like this angle position. Yes, that would be easier for her. And when dynamic would, the stiffness would be gone, then we would move to the next direction, to the next position. This is the best position, again, is armpit. If it's not comfortable, then we do it here. And again, counterclockwise direction, and I'm on the groin like this. And we do it until we have this stickiness, and then preferably we get free from it. And like that. And this is very good for edema, like very, very good. This works. If you have a patient with edema, always measure the, measure how big it is. And after this procedure, just wait for 5 minutes. You will see the changes in centimeters. So it's very, very good. So the idea is like that.
Okay, so do you switch or for next procedure to the extremities? Like, can you do like the opposite side as
Yes,
well?
afterwards you can do the same. If I have, for example, edema in both legs, then we do this side, and then I ask to change and then do the opposite side as well. This is how I can actually work on all 4 extremities. Otherwise, I would work on only 2 of them. Yes, this is actually, we are actually ending.
May I ask you?
Yes.
Is this red place?
Yes.
Is it usually a reaction by this method or completely small asymmetry? What do you think about this?
This is dynamic. This shows that something changed in the body.
This is normal.
This is normal reaction.
Place reaction.
Yes, it's normal reaction. We should get this reaction. But sometimes, for example, you can have redness and there will be one small position which is very sticky, for example.
Small asymmetry.
Yes, you can work on the small symmetry afterwards, for example, with doses or with the zeros or 4 vectors as you like the best. Like that. Thank you. How do you feel? Oh, okay. So, and for the last thing, just thank you for your audience. Have a healthy body and be healthy and treat everybody else and be happy and yes.
This method only for treatment or for prevention?
You can use it for prevention as well. Yes, definitely. For example, so I started. I'm sorry. For normal people, excuse me, for normal people, of course. The idea was, and what I started with at the beginning, Remenko said that if you want to treat the patient, you have 5 steps. First,